My name is Emma. I am 32 years old. I have been with my wife Lisa for 9 years. Lisa is 30 years old. We live in a small apartment in the city. We both have jobs. Lisa works from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening. I start my work later. Most days, I begin work at 12:30 or 1:30 in the afternoon. This means I go to bed later and wake up later. Lisa wakes up early. She sets her alarms at 6 in the morning and keeps snoozing them until 8 or even later. She does not get up with the first alarm, not even the second or third. Sometimes she sets 5, 6, or even 7 alarms. They ring one after another. It feels like a never-ending sound. The alarms go off every 5 to 10 minutes. I hear all of them, but Lisa sleeps through them. She does not wake up easily. This has been going on for years. It started slowly. First, just 1 alarm, then 2, then 3, and now, so many alarms. Each one wakes me up. I am a light sleeper. Any sound makes me open my eyes. I also have bad dreams at night. My sleep is not good. I need quiet mornings to rest, but I never get that. Lisa sleeps like a rock. Nothing wakes her, so I have to tap her arm or speak her name to wake her up. Sometimes I even shake her shoulder. She opens her eyes, says, "Thank you," and then goes back to sleep. Then another alarm rings again, and I have to wake her again. It makes me very tired. I feel like I never sleep well. Lisa is a good person. She is smart. Her boss likes her very much. She is good at her job. That is why she can arrive late and it does not matter. Her boss just wants the work to be done well. Still, I do not understand why she needs so many alarms. Why can't she get up with just 1 or 2? I have asked her many times. We sit and talk. I say, "Lisa, I cannot keep doing this. Your alarms are making me tired. I can't sleep. It makes me upset." She listens, but nothing changes. She says, "I'm sorry, but it's hard for me to wake up. You start work later anyway." But it is not just about what time I start work. It is about how I feel all day. If I sleep badly, I feel sick. My head hurts. My body feels weak. I feel angry and sad. It is not just about being tired. It is about feeling like I do not matter. Sometimes I think about sleeping in a different room. But when I say this to Lisa, she gets sad. She says, "Why? Don't you want to sleep next to me?" Then I feel guilty. I want to be near her. I love her. But I also want peace. I do not think I should be the one to leave our bed. I think she should try harder to fix this. I have tried to find ways to help her. I told her about a smartwatch that can wake her up with a small buzz on her wrist. But she says no. She doesn't want to wear it. I said maybe we could move the alarm clock far away, so she has to stand up to turn it off. But that didn't work either. She still doesn't wake up. I always do. I feel like I am the alarm clock. We are both night owls. We like to stay up late. But Lisa stays up even later than I do. That's strange to me because she has to get up early. I would think she needs more sleep. But she stays on her phone reading or watching videos. Then she sets all her alarms before bed, and the next morning is just like the day before. I wake up over and over again while she sleeps. Then I wake her up again and again. I start my day feeling angry. I want to be calm. I want to smile in the morning. But I can't. It has been this way for too long. Sometimes, when I am very tired and upset, I think about breaking up. I know that sounds extreme, but it's true. I think, maybe this is not going to work. Maybe we are too different. That thought makes me sad. I love Lisa. We have been together for so long. We have shared many good moments. We have laughed and traveled and grown together. But sleep is important. My health is important too. I do not want to live my life always tired, always upset in the morning. I want to feel good. I want to feel like my needs matter. So I started to look at my days more closely. I asked myself simple questions. How do I feel when I wake up? How do I feel when I try to work after poor sleep? The answers were always the same. I felt tired, weak, sometimes even dizzy. I was irritable. My mood was always low. I tried to smile to pretend everything was fine, but inside I felt like I was sinking. My body was present, but my mind was cloudy. Some days I would sit in front of my computer and just stare, not knowing what to do next. Coffee didn't help. A shower didn't help. Nothing helped because I hadn't rested. My wife, Lisa, would sometimes say, "Why are you so moody in the mornings?" And I wanted to scream. I wanted to say, "Because your alarms make me feel like I never slept." But I didn't scream. I never screamed. I always tried to stay calm. I would sit her down, maybe on a Sunday afternoon when we had time, and I'd say, "Can we talk about the mornings?" She would nod. I would explain everything again. The alarms, my light sleep, my bad dreams, my exhaustion, and she would say sorry. She would say she understands. But then Monday morning would come and the alarms would start again at 6. I would open my eyes, stare at the ceiling, and feel that familiar frustration rise up in my chest. I tried putting in earplugs. I tried white noise machines. Nothing worked. The alarms cut through everything. One time, I tried staying up all night, thinking maybe I could just sleep after she left for work and have peace then. But it didn't help. I was too tired. My brain didn't work right. My body ached. I cried. That day. I sat on the edge of the bed in the quiet after she left, and I cried. I cried not because I was weak, but because I felt invisible. I felt like my pain didn't matter, like my sleep didn't matter, like I had to be the one to suffer just so things could stay the same. And I thought, is this what love is supposed to feel like? It's not that Lisa doesn't love me. I know she does. She brings me tea when I'm sick. She holds my hand in the movies. She texts me sweet things during the day. But love should also be respect. And I didn't feel respected. Still, I didn't want to give up. I thought maybe if I found a new solution, she would listen. I started reading articles about couples with different sleep patterns. I read stories about people who slept in different rooms and said it saved their relationship. I read about people who used special lights or alarms that slowly got brighter. Instead of making sound, I made a list. I brought it to Lisa one evening. I said, please, let's try something new. Just one thing from this list. She looked at the paper. She smiled a little. She said, okay, we can try. That made me feel hope. We tried one of those sunrise alarms that glows slowly before the time to wake up. The idea was that light might wake her gently instead of loud noise. But it didn't work. The light filled the room, and she kept sleeping. I watched her face, calm, peaceful, while I was wide awake. I shook my head and turned away. I didn't say anything that day. I didn't want to fight. The next time, we tried a smart alarm on her phone that required her to solve a puzzle to stop it. That one worked. For 3 days. Then she found a shortcut and started snoozing it again. I felt the frustration come back like a wave. It was always the same pattern. Try, fail, repeat. I began to feel tired in a deeper way. Not just in my body, but in my heart. One night, after another difficult morning, I looked at her while she was brushing her hair. I said, do you understand how this feels for me? She looked at me through the mirror and said, I know it's hard for you, but it's hard for me too. I nodded, but inside I thought, it's not the same. You sleep through the alarms. You don't feel them like I do. I didn't say that, though. I just nodded again. Then I sat in bed and thought about what kind of future we were building. 9 years is a long time. But is it right to keep suffering, just because of the past? Or should we build something better, even if it means doing something uncomfortable? I still didn't want to sleep in a separate room. It felt like giving up. It felt like losing something important. But maybe it wasn't a loss. Maybe it was a way to save what we had. Maybe love can stay strong even with a little space. Maybe sleep can help love grow. I didn't know. I only knew I couldn't keep going like this. A few days later, I decided to write her a letter. Not a long one, just a short note from my heart. Sometimes when we speak, we get distracted. She checks her phone, or I forget what I want to say. But writing is different. In writing, every word stays. I sat at the table, took a pen, and wrote slowly, Lisa, I love you. You are the person I chose 9 years ago, and I still choose you now. But I am hurting. Every morning, I wake up tired and frustrated. The alarms make me feel invisible. I don't think you mean to hurt me, but it still hurts. I need rest. I need peace. I don't want to sleep in a different room, but I might have to just for a while so I can recover. Please help me find a better way. I'm not angry. I'm just tired. Love, Emma. I left the note on her pillow. That evening, she read it. She sat next to me on the couch and didn't speak at first. Then she said very softly, I didn't know it was that bad. I said, it is, but I didn't want to give up. I just want us to fix this together. She nodded and said, okay, let's try again. That moment felt like a tiny light in a dark place. Just a little bit of hope, but it was something. The next morning, she didn't set 7 alarms. She set only 2. One at 7:30 and one at 7:45. I still woke up, but not as many times. She also tried something new. She went to bed earlier. That helped a little too. For the first time in many months, I felt like she was really trying. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. I got up, made coffee, and didn't feel like crying. That was a big win. A week passed like that. Fewer alarms, earlier bedtimes, and more care. Then one morning, I woke up and realized she was already in the shower. I hadn't even heard her get out of bed. My eyes opened slowly, and I smiled. It felt strange to smile in the morning. I had forgotten that feeling. When she came back into the room, I said, you woke up without me? And she laughed and said, I guess I did. I didn't want to wake you. That sentence almost made me cry, not from sadness, but from relief. She didn't want to wake me. She cared. It felt like I mattered again. It was not a perfect fix. But it was real effort, and that made all the difference. I hugged her tightly and said, "Thank you. That means everything to me." We continued to try. Some mornings were still hard. Sometimes she overslept. Sometimes the alarms were back to 3 or 4. But each time, we talked. Not with anger, just with kindness. We reminded each other what we were trying to do. Build a life where both of us felt safe and rested. We learned to listen better. She learned to sleep earlier. I learned to forgive more. One night, I brought up the idea of trying to sleep in another room just 1 or 2 nights a week, just to see how it feels. I said, "Not because I want space from you, but because I want space to rest. And when I sleep better, I can be a better partner to you." She looked sad for a second, but then said, "Okay, let's try that too." I moved a pillow and blanket into the guest room. That night, I slept so deeply, I didn't wake once. The next morning, I felt like a new person. We made a plan. 2 nights in separate rooms, 5 nights together. If I had a tough week or many nightmares, I could use the guest room more. Lisa supported it. And funny enough, we started missing each other more. Sleeping apart made our mornings sweeter. We hugged more. We talked more kindly. It was strange how space made us closer. Love is not just about holding hands. Love is about listening. It's about doing small things that help the other person breathe easier. It's about saying, "Your pain matters, even if I don't feel it myself." And finally, I felt that again. I felt that love from Lisa, and I gave it back. We are still figuring things out. Life is never perfect. Some days are loud. Some nights are short. But we keep trying. We keep choosing each other, even after 9 years, even after all the alarms, even through all the tired mornings and quiet tears. After a few more weeks of trying new things, we found a rhythm that worked, most of the time. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than before. We kept the idea of separate sleeping nights as an option, not a punishment. That helped both of us feel safe. When I slept in the guest room, I didn't feel like I was leaving her. I felt like I was taking care of myself so I could be better for both of us. And Lisa started to understand that too. She began saying things like, "I know you didn't sleep well. Want to take the other room tonight?" That small sentence, just those few words, made me feel loved in a way that flowers or gifts never could. Sometimes I'd lie in the guest bed and think about our early days, how we used to stay up late, watching movies on her tiny couch, our feet tucked under the same blanket. I remembered when we were both in college and time didn't matter. We could sleep in until noon. No alarms, no jobs, just the quiet hum of city life outside the window, and our laughter inside. Back then, sleep was easy. Love was easy too. But now we had real life. Bills, schedules, work stress, sleep troubles, and love had to be stronger to survive it all. Lisa didn't stop being a night owl, but she made changes. She started putting her phone down earlier. We made a rule. No phones in bed. That helped both of us wind down better. We got a small bookshelf for the bedroom and picked out books to read at night instead of scrolling. Some nights we read aloud to each other, just a page or two. Sometimes it was funny stories. Sometimes it was poetry. I still remember one line she read out loud. "Love does not shout, it listens." I looked at her and whispered, "That's us now." She smiled and kept reading. The alarms still existed, but they changed. We bought a smart alarm that only vibrated under her pillow. At first, she didn't trust it would wake her up, but over time it did. She got used to it. And I slept through most of her mornings. That alone changed everything. For the first time in years, I could open my eyes when my body was ready, not when her phone screamed next to my ear. One morning, I woke up at 10. The sun was bright, soft on the curtains. I stretched and sat up, blinking in the light. I looked around. The room was quiet. Lisa had already left for work. On the table, I found a small note next to a cup of tea. It said, "Hope you slept well. I didn't want to wake you. Love you always." That note made my throat tight. I held it in my hand and just stared at it for a moment. My wife, the same woman who once set alarms every 5 minutes, was now trying so hard to let me rest. It was more than just kindness. It was growth. Sometimes, at night, when we lie next to each other, we talk about how far we've come. We laugh about the alarm wars of our past. We even joke about making a comic book called The Girl Who Fought the Alarms, with me as the tired superhero. And Lisa would laugh and say, "You were always my hero, even if I was the villain in the mornings." We both know that life will always bring new challenges. There will be new routines, maybe new jobs, maybe even bigger changes one day. But this season, this long, difficult season, taught us something very real. Love must include rest. Real rest. Not just the kind where you close your eyes. The kind where your heart feels heard. The kind where your needs are not seen as problems, but as part of the story. A story that we are still writing together. Every morning, every night. We are not perfect. We still mess up. We still get grumpy. But now we know how to say sorry without being forced. We know how to ask, how can I help you feel better? Instead of, why are you still upset? That small shift in our words, that small space of care, has made a big difference. There are still mornings when she oversleeps and I wake up first. But I don't feel angry anymore. I just shake her gently and say, time to get up, babe. And she opens her eyes, smiles, and says, thanks for not giving up on me. And I always say back, thanks for changing for me. One Saturday morning, we were both home, no work, no alarms. The window was open just a little, and a cool breeze moved the curtains. I woke up first, but I didn't feel tired or upset. I turned on my side and watched Lisa sleeping. Her hair was messy, her breathing soft. I felt a calmness I hadn't felt in a long time. There was no noise, no pressure to get up, no buzzing phones. Just silence. And her. I lay there for a while, not moving, just breathing and thinking. I thought about all the mornings that had been so hard. The frustration, the tears, the silence between us when words felt too heavy. And I thought about how far we had come from that place. We were still us, two women with different sleep needs, different morning energy. But we had made it work. Not by changing who we were, but by respecting who the other person was. Lisa stirred a little and opened her eyes. She smiled, still half asleep. You're staring at me, she whispered. I smiled back. You look peaceful. She stretched and pulled the blanket over her shoulder. I feel peaceful, she said. I think this is the best sleep I've had all week. I brushed a strand of hair off her forehead. Me too. We stayed in bed a while longer, talking about small things, what to eat for breakfast, what movie to watch later, maybe taking a walk if the weather stayed nice. It was an ordinary day, but it felt special because we were starting it without stress, without tired eyes and sharp words. We were starting it together, from a place of calm. Later, while making coffee in the kitchen, Lisa said something that stayed with me. She said, I didn't realize before how much your sleep mattered to me too. When you're rested, you smile more, you talk more. It makes the whole house feel lighter. I turned to her, holding my mug, and said, that's exactly how I feel about you. When we both rest, we both shine. From that point on, we made rest part of our relationship goals. Not just sleep, but rest in general. We started talking about stress more openly. If one of us had a rough day at work, we didn't hide it, or pretend to be okay. We said it clearly, I'm tired, I need a quiet night. And the other person respected that. Sometimes we turned off the TV and just listened to music. Sometimes we ate dinner in bed, curled up under a blanket, because it felt more comforting. We also learned how to celebrate small wins. If Lisa got up on time 3 days in a row with no snoozing, we celebrated. Not with a big party. Just a high five, a kiss, a look at you, champ. Those moments mattered. They reminded us that effort was being made, that love wasn't just a word we said, it was something we showed through action, even in sleepy moments, even in the early morning light. There was one night after a really hard day for me when I came home and went straight to bed without talking much. Lisa followed me quietly. She didn't ask questions. She just got under the covers and held my hand. After a few minutes, she said, do you want me to turn off my alarms for tomorrow? My heart swelled. I nodded, tears slipping down my cheeks. Thank you, I whispered. She kissed my forehead and said, you've done that for me so many times. Let me take care of you this time. And that's what love became for us. Not just romance, not just passion, but a quiet, steady kind of care. A type of care that says, I see you, I hear you, I will try for you. We're still learning. We still have nights when we stay up too late watching old shows and mornings that come too soon. We still argue sometimes, but we never stop trying. Never stop listening. Never stop remembering that even though our schedules don't match, our hearts do. And that matters more than anything. So now, when people ask me, how do you make it work when your sleep patterns are so different? I smile and say, with patience, love, and fewer alarms.